So greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking. I am Del Barcy. As always, if you like what you see and hear, subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know what you think. Today, my guest, my very special guest, is Ms. Porchae. And Portia is a registered nurse. She is a basic life support instructor. She's an educator and she's an entrepreneur. And she is on YouTube known as Nurse D Portia. So, welcome, Portia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
And thank you so much for doing this. So, the first thing I usually want to know is why are people nurses? Why are you a nurse?
So I'll say nursing chose me from childhood. I've always had that passion, like other little girls. I had my dolls, and I always wanted to care for them and different things. But something that my mother mentions all the time is when we would go driving in San Francisco. So I'm originally from the Bay Area
Yeah,
in California,
yeah.
and we would go driving in San Francisco. And if you know, in San Francisco, you see, so many homeless
Homeless,
people
yeah.
along the roads.
Mm-hmm.
And as a little girl, I think my mom said I was maybe like 6 at the time, 6 or 7. I remember asking her, Mom, why can't they come and live with us? Like, why do these people have to sleep outside? We're in a 4-bedroom house. Why of us, 6 siblings and 2 parents in a 4-bedroom house? And I'm like, they could come live with us. We got a dining room, a living room. They could come stay with us. So I've always had that type of heart where I've always wanted to help people. I always had passion to help people. It's always been there. It's always been a part of me. And when I found out, I didn't know quite what it was. When I got to the point of learning about nursing and all that, I'm like, I can get paid to, this is gonna be my job to take care of people. Yes, up. So did that, and it just took off from there. Just kept going.
It's interesting that you say that nursing chose you because that's exactly what I believe. I honestly believe that it chooses most of us anyway.
Most definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So
it
you
does.
wanted to do this. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
First of all, was it challenging for you then in nursing school, or you?
Oh, absolutely. From it was challenging all the way to earning my master's degree. It was challenging for me. As you know, many of us have to take what's called the TEAS test to
Mhm.
even get into the program. I had to take the TEAS test 3 times before actually passing it. And even when I did actually pass the TEAS, it wasn't much over the passing score to get into the program. So even from the very beginning, it was difficult for me. Um, Getting into the program, you would catch me in the library. I was one of those nurses that was always studying. I had my study partner in LPN school, and we literally got through it holding hands together. Like, did you pass your test? You didn't pass? Okay, don't worry about it. We're going to study a little harder this time, even though we were doing like 10-hour days. We would be at Starbucks from the time they opened to the time they closed. We would be in the library. I mean, we put in the time, the effort. We were passionate about getting this thing. We didn't work while we did it. We just kept going. It was something that we wanted, and we sacrificed, literally sacrificed to
Mhm.
get here. So yes, it was challenging for me for sure.
Okay. And having done it, what drew you? What kind of areas did you gravitate to?
I definitely feel it was worth it. It was challenging, but overall, it was definitely worth it. When I finished out, believe it or not, I started as an LPN as a research coordinator nurse.
Okay.
And I liked it. I lasted there for a while, and then I just felt like that was not where I was supposed to be in nursing. So I say that with nursing, I super love that it's super diverse. You can be working in an office, you can work in the hospital. Like, it's so many areas of nursing. That's why when I hear, oh, nursing isn't for me, I'm like, wait, did you try this? Did you try that? Because you have to move around to find what belongs to you. Like, where is your place in nursing? And I'm so happy right now because I finally found my place in nursing. But it took me going through home health nursing. I was a hospice nurse for a while. I worked as a dialysis nurse. I worked as a hospital case manager. I just kept moving until I found my place in nursing. loved all of them, but it just wasn't where I said God wanted me to be.
Okay, and so what is that?
So I found a place.
What is that spot?
Ma'am,
I said, what is that spot?
I am a UR nurse. So believe it or not, I work from home. I work remotely, and I have that life balance.
Yeah.
Like it's not all work, and
Yeah.
it's not all life. I have that common ground, that balance, and it's amazing. I see my kids every day. I'm helping them with their homework. I'm getting them from the bus. You know what I mean? And then I'm
Right.
also able to work and love what I do. I'm reading charts. I'm advocating for my patients. I'm spending hours looking through the charts and making sure, like, no, we need to pay this for this, this patient.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really advocating for where I am. And it's awesome to be a part of both worlds, so to speak. So I love where I am right now. I really do.
I can see your enthusiasm. And I'm glad that you said that there are so many opportunities in nursing, because that really is one of the goals of this challenge, of this channel. Because I began to feel that first of all, the general public don't know who nurses are. I don't believe they know who
Right.
nurses are. If you tell someone you're a nurse, they immediately get a vision of a hospital
Hospital.
and you're in there.
Yep. Absolutely.
And I see, as you mentioned, nurses, people are saying, nurses are saying, oh, this is not for me. And what that tells me is that, as you said, they don't know what the opportunities are. And so
And with that,
some of the goal is just
yes.
show nurses everywhere.
Yes. And that's what I felt like I'm being drawn kind of to pick up nurse coaching, because I don't want you to give up. I'm seeing so many nurses leaving. They're just like, I can't do bedside. There's so many non-bedside roles. You know what I mean? And even within bedside, that may just not be the bedside role for you.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be a hospital setting. It doesn't have
Exactly.
to be the nursing home. There's so many more avenues. Believe it or not, I loved hospice nursing. I really loved being a hospice nurse and being to have that hands-on and then the aspect, but I just felt like there wasn't a good work-life balance with hospice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I left, but I love that.
I can
And
understand.
you got to do both. So, I mean, I want to be able to help nurses find their way in nursing and
Yeah.
not just be stuck or combined to one place. You
Yeah.
don't have to be unhappy in nursing. You don't have to sacrifice your family and your work life. You don't. You can find that common balance between both. It's absolutely possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So many of us get bogged down in the day-to-day grind that we don't
Yep.
take a minute to see what's outside of this. Just keep
Right.
putting one foot in front of the other.
I agree.
Yeah. So you've done so much
Yeah.
and
Oh,
gathered
did I
so.
mention I wrote a book too?
You're an author. No, we have to talk about that. We have to talk about that.
It's just a small 32 page. Is it 30? I don't even think it's up to 30 pages. It's just a how to book, because I got my master's degree in 3 months for $2,000. And I see so many nurses that want to go back to school. They want to keep, go back and do nursing, but it's just a financial restraint, like restriction. You cannot afford to do it with, some schools and all that. So I just wanted to make a book showing how I was able to do that. Now, when I say sacrifice, it was a sacrifice.
I would think that 3 months.
Sacrifice.
I
It
think
was,
3 months
but
is
it was worth
sacrifice.
it. It was worth it, and it's totally possible. And I wrote a book just to show how I did it, and it's actually on Amazon. It's called How to, what is it called, Lord? How to get your master's degree in 3 months for $2,000 by Nurse Porchae.
All right, we can put that in the description box. I'm sure that there's somebody out there who wants to read it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. So what would you like to see change, though? What if would you like to see change about nursing?
Nursing is known for eating their young, and I would really like to see that change. I was one of the new nurses who felt that effect of nursing eating their young. I mean, it was to the point that I almost gave up nursing until I discovered, the non-bedside role. It was really bad. And it almost makes you feel like did I not hear clearly that God wanted me to do this? Am I not in the right place? It really makes you doubt. And when you just, encounter those bad experiences, bad preceptors, it really makes you doubt. And I feel that that shouldn't be. It's really unnecessary. If you don't have the ability to teach, if you don't have the passion for it, simply don't do it. Don't do it. Like, we just really need to get that together, because I feel like we're losing a lot of nurses to that simple thing that can easily be changed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I I saw something the other day, and I'm not sure um which nurse it is. I think I saw it in one of the nurse groups, but someone was talking about that very thing about nurses eating their young, and
Mhm.
her goal and her vision is to change that narrative
That's
to
awesome.
nurses feeding their young.
Yes.
And
Oh,
I
I
would
like
love to
that.
see that happen.
Yes.
See that happen.
That's awesome.
Yep, yep,
And something even bigger than that that I would like to see, and I don't know how this is possible, but because I know that hospital and all these different things are businesses, but I would like to see um, us get back to caring about our patients more than a dollar bill.
yeah,
I would like to see that.
yeah,
I think that a lot of nurses are getting discouraged there as well, and just feeling hopeless with the politics and everything else with nursing that's going on. But that's something that I would really like to see. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to advocate for that change, but that's something that I would absolutely like to see happen in nursing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I absolutely agree with you. Um, I think one of the things, and I don't know how this comes across, but maybe there's just too much money in healthcare. I mean, not in the
Yeah,
sense that we're paid too much, but there's too much for businesses, because healthcare has become corporate and conglomerate and, monolithic. The
yeah,
hospitals and entities are buying up, hospitals here, there, and everywhere, and coming huge big groups. And it's a
constantly.
corporate atmosphere.
Yes.
We are not corporate people. And
Right.
we fully understand that healthcare has to be paid for. It's not,
Right.
it's
Right.
like
It's
functioning.
inevitable.
It's not,
Like, it
it
has
has
to
to
be.
be paid
Right.
for, but it
Mm-hmm.
cannot be paid for at the expense
Expense of
of,
our patient.
exactly. And
Of patient care. It cannot. Like, these are human lives that we're dealing with.
yeah, yeah, and
And
that
I see it from both sides. And it's just like, we have to do better
yeah, yeah,
as humans, really. I mean, as humanity, we just need to do better in that aspect. So I definitely would love to see that change.
yeah, yeah. I absolutely
I
agree.
agree.
I agree with you. So I'm going to preface this by saying the words so far. So far, what would you say is your greatest achievement?
Hmm. I would say my greatest achievement is changing the lives of my patients.
Okay.
I have I can see in certain patients that I've had over the years. I don't want to say too much,
Right.
but HIPAA. But
Yeah.
I see a change, and it's so amazing for them to come to you and say, "Oh, I did this on my own, or I progressed in this area," and it's just like, "Wow, I made that difference." Just taking sometimes a moment or two to educate
Yes.
your patients on certain subjects. We so often we think, oh, they know that simple thing to maybe change the time that you're taking the medicine, or whatever the case may be, that will help your daily regimen, make it easier for you. We just assume that they will know these things, but they don't. And
No.
just taking a few minutes can really make all the difference. And I think that that is my biggest accomplishment so far, is just seeing those changes.
That's
you
awesome.
know
That's awesome. That's awesome. I kind of like that. I kind of like that too. And as you mentioned, sometimes we think people know these things. Um,
hmm
and we only think that because it's part of our day-to-day lives. It becomes, normal but it's not necessarily normal
it's
to,
not.
to anybody else. So there you go.
hmm
So we talked just now about nurses leaving and feeling burnt out and discouraged and all of that. I have a belief that even though all of these other things influence that, the management, the money, the corporate thing, and the politics and all of that, I won't invalidate that at all. That happens, that is true. But I think some of what contributes to this is that we don't take care of ourselves.
Yes.
We don't take care of ourselves. And so I want to ask, what does self-care mean to you?
Self care means to me, is doing the necessary to find that place of peace and happiness, what that means to you, being able to take a full day to do nothing if that's what you need at that time. It don't have to be that you're going to get your nails done or plan this, whole day. It can be that you're literally sitting on the couch, watching TV, reading a book, having a cup of tea, and just looking outside and thanking God for the trees and the birds and things like that. It just finding that you need it and taking what you need for you. Realizing that if you're not okay, then your patients, your family, and so forth is not okay.
Nothing else is okay. If you're not okay, nothing else is okay.
Nothing else. You got to take care of you. That's very important. Self-love, self-care is very important.
Yeah. Because we are so conditioned to putting ourselves last.
Yes.
So conditioned. I am guilty of that. I have been guilty of
Me
that.
too.
It took me a major shift, actually. So wait.
Right. It does. It does when you realize it, like, I'm sick, I'm dealing with depression, different things. You have to make those changes for you. If you are unhappy, you have to, nobody's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do it for you. You have to make those changes.
Yeah. And as you say, it doesn't necessarily have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It just has to be your thing.
Yep.
I mean, my thing is that every morning when I get up, I go downstairs, I make a cup of tea, I sit on the couch, I either read, I sit back, I do nothing. I look, as you say, I look at, but everyone knows it's not more than half an hour, because after half an hour, I'm ready to go move on and do my day. But everybody knows, don't disturb me at that time. And no one does.
That's my time. I love that. I love that.
And no one does.
You need that. You really do. For your mental health.
Yeah, you do. I look at it in the same way. And mark you, it didn't just happen. I had to come to that. But I look at it in the same way as I look at getting dressed to go out. When I get dressed to go out, I go to my closet and I pick up what I want to wear and I look at the way I want to look. Well, that's how I start my day. It's like going to feel how I want to feel.
Right.
And then I can do the rest of the stuff.
You have to set your morning. Set the tone of your day. Yeah.
So and that means though that you don't get unsettled so easily. So anyway, I can get carried away with this self-care.
It's grounded.
Only because I think it took me so long to actually get it. Yeah, so I really do want people to get it. I really do. Anyway, let's move on because I can get carried away. So one of the things I want to know is how when you look at someone, because you can look at some people and know that they're nurses without them saying a word. The way they walk, the way they do things, the way they. So what do you see in the nurses? I'd say if you had to describe the most essential quality of a nurse, just one word, what would that word be?
Caring.
Caring. Okay.
I do see that a lot of nurses genuinely care.
Yeah.
Even the ones that, so to speak, if they're young or they're the mean nurses and don't bother her, and if you take a minute and actually talk to them, they care.
Yeah.
They care. And it's a good place that it's coming from, but it's being, what's the word? It's shown in a negative way. Yeah. Like they don't know how to communicate.
And a lot of it comes out of frustration,
It's frustration, yeah.
A lot of
but they genuinely care. They care. Yeah. And that's what I see. I see as a common denominator with all nurses is that they genuinely care.
Yeah.
Most. Yeah. I can't say all, but most nurses care. And that's a great quality. It's a good thing.
Yeah. And even those who you think don't, will sometimes show a little spark of something rubs off. Show a little spark of something, and you go, okay. I see you.
So you it could even be like a defense mechanism with everything that they deal with nursing, but Definitely. You'll see it.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll see it.
And we have to be when in that caring, I think one of the things is that we forget, just as we forget to care for ourselves, we forget to care for our colleagues.
Yep.
We forget to care for our colleagues. And especially as it is so first of all, it's an emotional thing. It can draw you in. And then secondly, you sometimes you have to switch gears so quickly that you just shut down that part of you. You walk out of a room of someone who has just died and their family's all devastated, and you've got to go to another room,
Right.
and straighten your face and go in like, hello, how are you?
Yeah, it's
And
hard.
that person too. All of those things take a toll. Someone I saw, and I have to look for it because someone wrote an excellent poem about that. I think it's called something like 30 seconds and a hallway. 30 seconds and a hallway, I think that's what it's called. And it's expressing just that very thing, that between the different patients that you go to, there's just a hallway. But when you come out of one area to go to another, it probably takes you 30 seconds. But in those 30 seconds, you've got to reset yourself and readjust for what's happening here. You've got to put aside what you just left and reset yourself for what's happening here. And you know how many times a day I didn't think about it until I read that. You know how many times a day we have to do that?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And sometimes that's not easy. And that's why you do need those coworkers that's going to say, hey, you good? And kind of pull you and kind of, it's been times where I've had coworkers pull me and literally pray with me.
Yeah.
My first pronouncement in hospice, I was not okay.
Yeah.
I was not okay after that. And thank God for my preceptor at the time. She was the most amazing nurse I've ever met. And she literally stayed on the phone with me the entire time through the pronouncement, and I'm like, okay, wait, I want to check the pupils. I want to, check the respiratory.
Yeah.
I'm checking everything. And she's like, trust me, at this point, you're good. But I'm just like, no, I do not want to tell this family. And, it's not what it is. So she was just awesome. And I think that that's what kept me going. I would not have stayed that long in hospice if I didn't have the support that I had from those nurses.
Yeah.
They would pull me and be like, listen, I don't think you're okay. Even when I thought I was okay, they would, pray for me and just give me those words of encouragement. We in this together. Let me know if you need me. I'm here. And it really makes the difference. It really makes the difference in those moments. Sometimes it's not as easy to take that time and to regroup and get ready to go into somebody else's house, and the things that we see and deal with on a daily basis, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And sometimes you need that support.
You need that support.
You do.
You need it. And this is where we have to get, and I know we don't really have time.
Well, that's the problem.
Have to somehow find a way to know our team, know the people that we're working with, know the people that we're working with. And the way I once I got to that point in my own career, and I used to tell people that, I'm a Caribbean person, come from a tiny, tiny island, right? And we, if I see you 5 times a day, I greet you 5 times a day. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever. That's how we are. That's just
okay.
And that's how I have been all my life. And so I used to tell my colleagues, if the day ever comes when I come to work and you know that I always say good morning, I don't say good morning. If you say good morning to me and I grunt at you and say, what's so good about the morning?
You know something wrong.
That you gotta help me. I need you. I didn't say those words, but I need you to help me. And I think we have to recognize those.
To pick up on those things, because you're not gonna say, hey, I need you over here, because you know that they're drowning too sometimes, Exactly. So how can they help you when y'all both drowning? Sometimes, but with me, I'm the type of person that if you're drowning, I'm drowning too. I know one of us gotta be, one of us gotta help each other. So I'm able to pull you up. So, you never know. You do have to be able to pick up on those things.
Good
You know,
morning.
usually this person is saying good morning, or usually she's asking me to go to lunch with her. Don't take things so personal. Oh, well, she's having an attitude today. That may not be the case. She may be dealing with something that she's not feeling comfortable with coming to you about, that you actually need to help her
Yeah,
with. You know,
exactly.
don't always think the worst. Sometimes think, how can you be of help to that person? How
Yeah,
can you change the circumstance?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because just saying, you know, a smile, or
Yeah.
saying bringing donuts one day really lit up the whole floor when
That's
I
up.
did that one day, bringing donuts. And I'm like, really? This
Yeah,
simple thing, you know, but they appreciated it so much. You have
exactly.
to know. It's the small
Exactly.
things sometimes,
It's
you
the
know?
small things. It's the small things.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
It
small.
really is.
Yeah, yeah. And that's another thing that I think contributes to all of this, because we have become kind of fragmented. It's hard to find a team, a consistent team anymore.
Yes.
You know, people work, it was probably easier when we worked just 8 hour shifts,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
many people work together for longer periods of time during a week. You know,
Yes.
we work in 12 hour shifts. And
Yes.
so you can see your team member once every 2 weeks or something.
Yeah.
You know, how do you get to know somebody like that in that kind of,
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, those are changes good from a corporate standpoint, and we like it because we get to have the time off and all of that. But I
Yes.
think it's great for our work life, for our
Yeah.
at work life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they should do more things where you're interacting, but you wouldn't have the time to do it. I would say
You
the
know?
company I work for, I know every Christmas they would throw like a big Christmas party. There was one they did at a mansion one year, and I brought my husband, and you know, we met the whole team. That was something that was really nice. And then we all went out to eat, you know, things like that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sometimes you're so tired, you don't even want to do that if
Exactly.
you're not working. So
Yeah.
it's challenging.
It's
It
very
is.
challenging. It's very challenging. And I don't know if that's a niche for someone to try and just sit down and try to figure out and implement how to actually change this
Dynamic.
mindset and this environment. Maybe.
Yes. Yeah, that would be really good to have
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Small changes like that, I think, would help us keep our nurses, you know?
Yeah.
Just little things like that. I
Little
mean, make
thing.
it a community. We have to come together and help one another. I mean,
Yeah.
that's small changes that can happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I know. I mean, we talk about things like, we need better pay and stuff like that. That's all true. That's very true. But you can
yeah,
throw as much money as you want at it. If you didn't fix the crux of the problem, it ain't gonna
right. It's not going to make a difference. Yeah. True. That's not going to be the priority when it comes to your peace or money. Because if that was the case, I would be traveling right now. But I chose peace. Like, no, I'll choose peace this time. And
Yeah.
I'm happy I did. You know,
Mhm.
while that may change later, I may decide to travel in a couple of years. Who knows? Right now, I'm choosing peace, and it just feels amazing to me right now.
Yeah.
So you're right. I think that will win every time if it's
It will.
addressed.
It has to. It has to.
Yes.
So, my dear Portia, thank you. Thank you
Oh, you're very
so,
welcome.
so much for this.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed talking with you.
It is my absolute pleasure. My absolute pleasure. I loved it.